Good afternoon. It is 3:15 in the afternoon for me, and uncovered some stuff, did some research. So we're going to start off right away with this video. It's going to take us right in where we want to be.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
That is the president this morning promising to crack down on illegal immigration.
So what could that look like? WCCO is dedicating a team of reporters to dig into these stories. Today, Jonah Kaplan investigates how our current deportation process works.
The past several years have been frustrating. It's been super emotional.
Nathan Kintu came to Minneapolis from Uganda for college in 2012 on a student visa. He fell in love with the U.S., and he fell in love. His wife, Victoria, is also a Ugandan immigrant. But here's where things get complicated. Victoria had a green card, but that doesn't transfer through marriage, and Kintu's student visa was about to expire. That was in 2020. In order to get a green card, you have to have work. In order to have a work permit, you have to have work. But you can't get work as a student with a student visa.
And I don't have a job to pay a lawyer to go through the process. You feel like you're going to be deported anytime. You're going to leave the country. They're going to take you out of the country.
According to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, Kintu's case is just one of 7.6 million non-citizens on the agency's docket, each one unique, and many of them really complicated. All of these people technically can be deported, but in most cases, a federal immigration judge is the one to make that call. How ICE learns about these immigrant cases, that's complicated too. In Minnesota, ICE agents could get a call from Customs and Border Protection, either at the northern border or one of our other ports of entry. Think MSP International Airport. ICE could also get involved if a non-citizen is pulled over for a speeding ticket or arrested on criminal charges. It's often up to local police or the sheriff, though, to let ICE know about it. Other times, ICE might work off a tip and investigate a business. The non-citizen could be detained in a county jail, and in Minnesota, just 3 contract with ICE. If they're not there, the non-citizen could be monitored in some other fashion, like a GPS tracker or phone check-ins. If there's a low flight risk, they may not even be tracked at all, as long as they show up for their hearings. There's one federal immigration court in Minnesota. In Fort Snelling, there are 7 judges.
Is there any way for an executive order to get rid of that right to hear?
No, there's not.
Graham Ojala Barber is an immigration attorney in St. Paul. Only Congress can change how the current system works, not an executive order.
ICE has to decide their priorities. And it's been the case that people who have criminal records, for example, are often sought out by ICE for arrest. But if the new administration wants to deport, everyone who is illegal, it's going to completely jam their ability to actually focus on the people who should be priorities.
That's the case already in Minnesota. In ICE's St. Paul region, roughly 1,900 non-citizens were detained last year, more than 80% of them facing charges or convicted criminals. According to ICE, 1,700 were deported.
But not all countries take deportees. Like there are, like Cuba, for example, it's really difficult, or Somalia, it's difficult for ICE to deport people to countries where there's a complicated diplomatic relationship. So, and often people sort of languish in jail for many months while ICE tries to arrange travel documents, and that can be expensive also to taxpayers.
Nathan Kintu's case lingered in immigration court for nearly 5 years, and the best news arrived just last Wednesday. He's finally got his green card.
That's awesome.
Oh, man. I don't know how to explain it. It was magical. It felt like I'm free.
Jonah Kaplan, WCCO News.
I'm really happy when that
Immigration
happens.
court
That
is
makes
not like
me
criminal
very
court.
happy.
Everyone who works there is an employee of the Department of Justice and appointed by the Attorney General.
So, what can happen when you cross into the U.S. illegally, unlawfully? Let's take a listen.
First-time illegal entry, misdemeanor, Law 8 U.S. Code Section 1325, A. 1. Entering the U.S. without authorization, for example crossing the border without inspection or using false documents. Penalty, up to 6 months in jail, a fine, or both. Classification, Class B misdemeanor. Repeat illegal entry, felony, Law 8 U.S. Code Section 1325 and Section 1326. Crime, re-entering the U.S. after being formally removed or deported. Penalty, up to 2 years in prison for basic re-entry. Up to 20 years if there are aggravating factors, like criminal history. Classification, felony. Civil versus criminal proceedings. Civil. Many illegal entries are handled as civil immigration violations, leading to deportation/removal proceedings, not criminal prosecution. Criminal. Prosecutors can, and sometimes do, charge individuals criminally, especially in repeat cases or for those with criminal records.
So the first time you come in, the misdemeanor. There'd be a fine, possibly 6 months in jail, or both, it says. And then it says if you do it again, at that point, it's a felony. It's not a misdemeanor anymore. And 20 years. 20 years you could get for that. I guess my question is, knowing that you could go to prison for 20 years for doing that, why not just go to a port of entry, report yourself, fill out the paperwork, wait for at least a work permit? 20 years, that's a heck of a risk.
For a first-time illegal entry under 8 U.S.C. Section 1325, there are 2 types of fines. Criminal fine. The offender can be fined under Title 18, which means up to $2,000, or more, depending on what Title 18 provisions allow. This is in addition to potential jail time of up to 6 months, or both fine and imprisonment. Civil, administrative, fine. In addition to or apart from the criminal fine, there is a civil penalty for crossing at an improper time or place. $50 to $250 for the first offense, per entry attempt. If previously fined, penalties can double for subsequent attempts.
So it could be $50 to $250 per attempt to come across the border if they're caught. Just for that. Coming across the border is a crime if you come across the border unlawfully. Gotta remember that. That's the important word there. Unlawfully. If you come in legally, none of this is a problem for you. Or them, or whoever it is doing it. It just boggles my mind.
Summary of penalties. Type of penalty amount. Criminal fine up to $2,000 or higher. Civil fine $50 to $250. Increases if repeated.
Up to $2,000 fine. On top of the jail is a possibility for a criminal fine. So now you owe all this money, and you're in jail, and you're going to be deported. What good came from unlawfully crossing the border?
So if someone is caught crossing illegally for the first time, they could be facing up to $2,000 in criminal fines plus an additional $50 to $250 administrative fee on top of any jail time or other sanctions. Approximately 3.7 million cases are pending before U.S. immigration courts, according to TRAC and other sources.
3.7 million pending cases. 3.7 million. Wow.
TRAC reports that 3,585,101 active cases were pending at the end of April 2025. The Vera Institute notes a backlog of 3.7 million deportation proceedings, an 11% increase over the previous 12 months. What this means: the court backlog consists of both removal/deportation cases and asylum hearings. Of the pending cases, over 2 million are asylum related, about 2.11 million waiting for asylum hearings. The pending docket has surged roughly 44% from around 2.5 million at the end of FY 2023 to about 3.6 to 3.7 million by April 2025. In summary, there are currently about 3.6 to 3.7 million cases awaiting decisions in U.S. immigration courts, including over 2 million asylum cases specifically. The backlog has risen sharply, more than 10% in the past year, and nearly 50% over 2 years.
Can you imagine that? 50% increase over the last 2 years. And they're talking about 2023 to 2025. Insane. Absolutely insane.
An immigrant can get a work card, officially called an Employment Authorization Document, EAD, by applying through U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, uses. Here's a step-by-step guide. Determine eligibility.
This is going to explain a little bit about that process. And again, I say, you come in, you get the proper documentation, you can work without getting into trouble. It's that simple.
Are you navigating the complex world of U.S. immigration and wondering how to apply for an employment authorization document? Stay tuned as we break down this process into easy steps, ensuring you're well prepared on your path to working legally in the U.S. Welcome to Direct U.S. Immigration's channel. My name is Maitreya Brown, and I am a U.S. immigration attorney with almost a decade's worth of experience based in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I'm also the principal attorney at Direct U.S. Immigration, where we assist clients in all 50 states and around the world. To get direct access to the latest immigration information that could be vital to your case, make sure to click the like and subscribe button to stay connected. And stick around until the end for a bonus tip on ensuring a successful EAD application. Now let's talk about eligibility. Before applying, it's crucial to understand if you're eligible for an employment authorization document, also more commonly referred to as an EAD. Generally, individuals eligible to apply include those with pending asylum applications, DACA recipients, TPS, certain students, spouses of certain workers, among others. Each category has specific criteria, so be sure to verify your eligibility before proceeding. Now let's walk through the step-by-step process of applying for an EAD. Number one is to determine eligibility. So confirm that you fit into one of the eligibility categories. For example, maybe you have an asylum application pending, you hold TPS or DACA status, you are an F1 student status, you are the spouse of certain H-1B visa holders or E-2 visa holders. There are many more types, so ensure you fall under one of the appropriate categories. Number two is gather the required documents. This typically includes Form I-765, proof of your eligibility category, your identification documents, and 2 passport-style photos. Number three is complete Form I-765. This is the application for employment authorization document, so fill it out carefully and completely to avoid delays. Number four is pay the filing fee. Check the USCIS website for the most current fee or see if you're eligible for a fee waiver. 5 is submit your application. Mail your completed application and documentation to the appropriate USCIS lockbox or file it online if you're eligible. Now, the centerpiece of your application is Form I-765. It's available for download on the USCIS website along with detailed instructions. So pay special attention to the sections asking for your eligibility category to ensure accuracy. Now, if you already have an EAD, you will need to renew it before it expires. The renewal process is similar to the initial application. Make sure to file your renewal at least 3 to 6 months before your current EAD expires in an attempt to avoid any disruption in your ability to work. I've worked with countless clients who have successfully navigated this process. One such client was Sarah, who moved from Canada on a student visa. By following the steps we discussed today, she secured her EAD and landed her dream job. Her story demonstrates the importance of preparation and understanding the process. As promised, here's a little-known tip for your EAD application. When submitting your passport-style photos, write your name and A number or date of birth on the back to prevent mix-ups during processing. So thank you for tuning in today. For more resources, check out the description below, where you'll find questionnaires to help determine the most appropriate visa for your needs, as well as a curated list of my travel favorites. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more content, comment with topics you'd like me to cover, and share this video widely. It might just help someone you know. For personalized advice, schedule a consultation with us at the link below. For weekly news updates, sign up for our newsletter and tune into our channel. Until next time, stay informed and travel smart.
Well, now, that is a general rundown of how you do it. There is, of course, information. It's going to differ from case to case. It's going to differ from place to place. It's going to differ from what you want to do when you get into the U.S., where you're coming from. There's certain laws and customs regulations that need to be observed. Immigration is easy to misunderstand. It is a good idea to get representation. Now remember, the representation, you're not defending yourself like a criminal. It's not what it is. They are there to represent you while you present your case as to why you should be able to become a U.S. citizen or work legally in the U.S.
The immigrant must qualify under one of the eligible categories. Common ones include asylum applicants after 150 days with no decision, asylees and refugees, DACA recipients, temporary protected status, TPS, holders, adjustment of status applicants, green card applicants, certain spouses of visa holders, for example, L2, E2, H4 under specific conditions, parolees and some humanitarian entrants.
Okay, so you must qualify under one of the following categories. Asylum applicants, but you have to qualify for the asylum status. It's not just, you can't just say, oh, I want asylum, and you automatically get it. There's certain things that have to be observed, and there are qualifications, conditions you're fleeing a country from when you're coming to the U.S. That's important. And then there's asylees and refugees. Okay, well, asylum makes you an asylee. Refugee means that there's something traumatic has happened in your country, whether it be natural disaster, military occupation, you're displaced from your country because of political or religious beliefs, those sorts of things. Again, representation, super important. Now, there's temporary protected status. All right. Now, those are people that are waiting for. They've gone through the process. They're legally in the U.S. waiting for their documents to come through so they can legally work or live in the U.S. Excuse me. Now, just getting married is not going to make your spouse. If you're a U.S. citizen and you marry someone who comes into the country, it doesn't automatically make them a citizen. Again, very important representation. Got to get that representation. And there are forms to file. Make sure you get that paperwork done. Super, super important. And you cannot service yourself any greater when coming to the U.S. than to learn English. Why? Because it is the predominant language in the country. There are other languages. There are places that speak almost no English. here in the United States, but they're very few and far between. That's important. And parolees. Okay, if you're a parolee, it just got more difficult. Good luck. Really. Humanitarian, it again, there are qualifications. Find out what the paperwork is, find out who you have to talk to, and get representation. Super, super important. And if you can get a sponsor, if you can get somebody here in the US who believes in you and says, hey, I'll sponsor you. Come on in. We'll set you up. We'll help you pay for your stuff, and you have a place to stay, and we'll help keep you out of trouble and safe. Sponsors can be invaluable.
Full list of eligibility categories can be found in the USIS Form I-765 instructions. File Form I-765. This is the application for employment authorization. Must include a copy of a current passport or ID, a copy of the applicant's immigration status document, 2 passport-style photos. Filing fee, if applicable, currently $520, but varies by category. Some are free.
This is why it's important to have a sponsor. If you have a sponsor who's willing to help you out with the cost of things, to me, you know, I'm disabled. I can't work with the vision issues, and sometimes my world has a tendency to just spin out of control for sometimes minutes at a time. So can't work. But these things are important. So $520, me, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Okay. But the fees can vary, it says, and some classifications, they don't cost anything. Again, representation, super, super important.
Online via USIS account or mail it to the correct USIS lockbox. Biometrics appointment. USIS may schedule a fingerprinting/biometrics appointment for background checks. Wait for USIS decision. Processing time depends on category and location. Ranges from 2 to 8 months typically.
When you go to these appointments, these biometric appointments, you have to go. You can't just not go. That is going to be one of the single most important things for you to do as an aspiring U.S. citizen. I absolutely love it when someone completes everything they have to do and they have that document that says, hey, I'm a U.S. citizen. I can't help but smile when I hear that. That's tremendous victory for them. And I love to meet people and talk to them that have gone through that process.
Check status online. Use this case status. Receive EAD card. If approved, the applicant receives a plastic ID card with photo category code, validity dates, typically 1 to 2 years, renewable. With an
Do not let that card lapse. I cannot give you any stronger piece of advice. Once you've gone through the process and you are here and you're doing great and you've got your card, and anytime immigration walks up to you, you can say, hey, listen, I got this card. I'm good to go. And they're going to say, okay, that's great. Welcome to the U.S. Don't fail to renew that card. And for heaven's sake, try not to lose it. Replacement process is frustrating.
ED, the immigrant, can legally work for any U.S. employer. can apply for a social security number, may use the card as a secondary form of ID.
Now that's important too. In fact, all of this stuff's really important. I did all this research hoping to lead people in the right directions. I talked to people gathering facts, and once you get this card, this working card, you can work anywhere in the United States. Doesn't matter what state it is. Doesn't matter what the job is. You are legally capable of working in the U.S. Apply for a Social Security number. Why do you need a Social Security number? It's another super important thing. So when you can pay your taxes and you can file to get some of your taxes back, and then you really feel like an American citizen, because, and also another thing, if you don't understand the tax process of filing for taxes, get representation. If you have a sponsor, that helps unbelievably. And because it has a photo on it, and it has your immigration number on it, it's a good ID card. If somebody says, "Who are you?" and "Wait, I got a badge, I got a gun, I'm going to arrest you." "No, wait, don't do that. I got an ID. I'm going to show it to you." Well, actually, they can't do that. They have to have a reason for asking for your ID, and they might arrest you if you don't show it to them anyway. Even if they don't have a reason, they can arrest you. But then you can launch a lawsuit. Again, representation. So this is all the stuff that I went out and I found. I talked to people. Getting people to call you back on these sorts of things is absolutely horrendous. Very, very busy people in the U.S. Immigration Office. But I hope that this helps, and gets people on the right track. So I would like to thank you for your time. Give us a like, a share, subscribe if you feel froggy, I guess. You can follow us. You don't have to subscribe. You can just follow us. And we'll hopefully have some really good information for you in the future as well. In fact, I got another good one coming up after this one. So, God bless you. God bless America.